In today's video, I'm going to recap the April 2024 Commoner Crawl event, as well as give you the top 4, plus a bonus, deck lists. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood friends. Welcome back to Dice Commando, and go again, a fabulous cast for another installment of, that's right, we're here for Dice Commando, another installment of the Commoner series here on the channel. So thanks for tuning in for that. We're going to do a recap of the Commoner Crawl event we had here in April, which was a couple weeks ago at this point, but I'll be honest, it took me a while to get the deck lists together. And actually, that's kind of a good lead into my next point before we get into this, kind of a public service announcement. So there was no Commoner video last week. I'd been extremely sick for a couple of weeks. Just wasn't going to get one out, and I figured I could take one off. I got a lot of DMs, or whatever the kids are calling them these days, private messages, asking if I was dropping Commoner. Some of them were less than polite. One thing I have to just be honest to the Commoner community, something that rubbed me the wrong way was I actually got more DMs who were angry that I didn't have a Commoner video during the week than I did comments on the last Commoner video. So I just want to put it into perspective of if you are a manager trying to motivate an employee to do something for you, that's not a good management tactic. Okay. And if that sounds like I'm upset, I'm sorry. I'm not. That's not how I'm trying to sound. I'm just, please understand when you're working with other people in the world that that's not how you should treat people. Okay. All right. So with all that said, let's move into the event itself. So this happened earlier this month out at Migration Brewing out in Gresham. Really great place. We've actually been there before. They actually had like a whole space for us set up this time. We're gaining clout, my friends. That's right. We're actually becoming a thing. I love it. All right. So we had 14 individuals show up for this particular tournament. Now, guess what? We had 13 different heroes. That's right, 13 different heroes. So I have the list right here so you can see. So we had 1 Dorinthea, 1 Bravo, 2 Icelanders, 1 DB Dash, that's Dash Database, Dash IO, whatever you want to call it. I like Database Dash. 1 Chane, a Dromai, an OG Kassai, this guy, an Olympia, Desi Olympia, of course. We had a Dash, a Katsu, a Kayo, and a Riptide. Now you will notice something else missing from that list. That's right, folks. That is 2 tournaments in a row, 2 Commoner Crawls in a row, where no one has shown up with Aria. And I do not think that something can speak better to this community and how successful these events have been than the fact that we have run 2 events in a row where no one's showing up with Aria. People are not there to mash face. It's like this amazing, unheard of thing in Flesh and Blood, where people are actually there to play and have fun. It's this crazy, crazy, crazy concept, and that's why I'm so freaking passionate about what we do here in the community, okay? So with me getting off of my soapbox, the top 4 was Cameron Summers won it, took it down on his Katsu deck, which is, if I'm going to be honest with you, not all that different than the one that he won, I want to say October, November timeframe, some might have even been last summer. Either way, Cameron's won it before with a very similar deck. Tristan Sedlacek took 2nd place on OG Dash. And then, I'll be honest, we didn't remember who got 3rd and 4th, but Sean and Aaron both were running the same deck, which I will link the video, is the deck for both of them were running the deck from Pro Tour LA. They got 3rd and 4th, not respectively in the order of them being listed, because we can't remember who got them, but 3rd and 4th was 2 Icelanders. Okay. So that's a big deal. And then the bonus, I took 5th on the event on OG Kassai. That deck is pretty crazy right now with some of the new stuff we got out of heavy hitters. Okay, Blood Run Wine and Kassai, OG Kassai is pretty good. All right, so going into Cameron's deck, which I have across the screen right now. So again, congratulations, Cameron. So he was on Null Hood, Gloves, and Boots in the sideboard. Okay, so if we go across the top, you can see what he's got built out. He had 2 Kodachis, makes sense. Shuko, Pouncing Paws. You don't see a Ninja not running those anymore. Those cards are arguably busted in the format. I think it's fair to say they probably are. He's on Vest of the First Fist. And then he's on Mask of Many Faces. So again, this is not the card draw mask. This is the hit and declare card, which makes a lot of sense with Katsu. Makes 100,000,000% sense with Katsu for declaring targets. Right? We see he's on Red Sinks. Why would you not be on Red Sink? Oasis Respite. Scar for a Scar. 1 Salt the Wound. Be Like Water ×2. 2 leg taps. Pouncing Chi ×2 and 1. Chi Unleashed. Rising Knee Thrust ×1 in this case, right? Rising Knee Thrust is phenomenal, and that's the blue specifically I'm referring to. He'll, of course, have the blues, because why would you not? They defend for 3. But 1 red knee thrust into the leg taps. Bittering Thorns, because that card's crazy. Ride the Tailwind. 2 Soulbead Strikes. Surging Red Yellow. Whelming Gust Wave Red. Descending Gust Wave Red. Head Jab Red, and then open the center. Okay, that's the balance for the Salt to Wound. And then we see the blues there on the far side. Wounding Blue, of course, makes sense. Whelming Gust Wave Blue. Okay, good one for the red balance. Soulbead Strike again. Again, that's pretty common include, no pun intended, on the ninja side. Rising Knee for blue, and then 1-2 punch on the blue, obviously, to follow up the head jab. Just a lot of threats here coming with Katsu. It's, again, I love this deck because it's so fundamental. He does have 2 Crouching Tigers there. I don't know if he's just blinging out. I don't know if there's a way to create 2 Tigers, if I'm being honest, but I think you just create the one. But either way, awesome job, Cameron. He really didn't struggle too much into the meta, or I should say the field on the day, and took it down pretty well. All right, moving into the next deck. So this is Tristan Sedlasek. Now, Tristan is an amazing player. I've had an opportunity to interact with him in skirmish events, specifically with Blitz. What's interesting about this OG Dash deck is that there's a lot of old school callbacks in this deck. Combustible Courier is a really good card from the olden days, but we actually don't see a ton of it in the kind of the current common or meta. Another card we used to see just because of lack of card pool is Back Alley Breakline, and he's continuing to run that card. And what's actually funny about that is I was actually out on my run about, 5-6 weeks ago, and I was like, wait, why isn't anybody running Back Alley Breakline anymore? Like, what's the angle there? And I was like, oh, it must just be because of the pumps. And look at that. He comes in, places second on OG Dash, someone who we were collectively worried about on the fatigue thing, and he's running that card. So I find that very interesting. Okay, so looking at the deck, we've got Null Gloves, Hood, and then Accelerator on the boots for the AB3 roundout. Does have the Helm, that's the first fist, which makes sense, Goliath Gauntlets. Does have Talishar and the pistol, so he can flip, right? So if you actually go in and do the count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sideboard cards, right? So that leaves, or I should say, armory cards, loadout cards, excuse me. So it leaves him a lot less room for sideboard choices. But if you go and you look at this deck, it's pretty much just go ram down your throat Dash, okay? So we have a full rainbow of jump starts, which makes complete sense. He's got the hyperdriver there kind of set aside, marking that he's starting out with it, which again makes sense. We have 2 rev ups, okay? So also makes sense coming in for effectively the discount. If we go look at the zeros, okay? 0 for 60 blue, yellow, red, no shock there. We've got Recharge Red. I know I'm kind of bouncing around here, but I'm kind of trying to tell a story. So we have Recharge Red, Data Link, okay, for the boost. We have Underloop, which makes sense, Outpace, and then we go into Zipper Hit. Okay, we have full bow to Zipper Hits, and then you go look at Throttle. So we have Blue Throttle, Red Throttle, and that's where we're missing the yellow. Okay, so no yellow throttle, red, blue there. And Crankshaft, which is something which often folks are running a full rainbow of, just blue. That's all I see there, okay? Then 1 Big Bertha to kind of balance out it's the off card for Hyperdriver, but Big Bertha again makes sense because it's the replenishment. But it is very interesting here that the crankshafts are very, very, very low in terms of that. Oh, and then the one card I did skip over was Payload, but Payload makes a whole lot of sense as a chain ender with the Dominate to do the thing. So what I find very interesting about this deck is it's different than a lot of stuff we've seen, right? Tristan very clearly came in with a plan to get over the fatigue. You see a little bit of, I mean, I'd say there's some pseudo unconventional choices. Again, we don't see combustible all that often, but he's clearly trying to force blocks so that he can do what he wants to do on a later chain link. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Super cool. So again, congratulations, Tristan, and thank you for the Dash loyalists out there. Almost every video we get a, why is Dash not doing better? Well, you proved Dash can do better. Now, for the next two lists, I want to be honest with you folks. I'm not going to waste your time. The video is already out there. Both of these lists are, like they said, like plus or minus one card, if that, from the PTLA list. Okay. You already have that. I'm not going to waste your time. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down my Kassai, my OG Kassai list that I was running that day. Okay. So I was on hot streak this time. So I had one hot streak, one Cintauri Saber. The Saber, right? I had the German version. Looking for a German hot streak, by the way, if you want to be generous and send one over. But the that's kind of a joke. Definitely take it. But the hot streak did a lot of work for me because of, like, I was reading, like, the Bravo match. It's really good. I guess that's about it. Oh, it did pretty good work for me in the Chane matchup as well. Even though they don't want to block a lot, you're still presenting what you need to do while you can kind of work the fatigue angle. Okay, so the hot streak thing I was very pleased with. My loadout was Refraction Bolters, Gallantry Gold, the new Hood, of course, for one block because it's just strictly better than Iron Rot. Then Blossom, and then of course had Null Rune to balance out. Okay, the other sideboard cards kind of flipped in and out. The deck is built to be very flexible based on whom I run up to at the time. Okay, so I was running new lead for speed cards. Super good in Commoner. It gives you the agility. It's exactly what you want. Then you can lead with your Cintauri Sable. Goblet of Blood, Run, Wine. Can we talk about this card? It's a blue. It only defends for 2, which kind of sucks. But this card on of itself, just so we're clear, you windmill slam this down at the end of a chain, whatever it may be, whatever you need to do, windmill slam it down. Your next turn's free. You can block with all 4 cards in your hand. You can come with either one of your weapons, and then come again with the way that Kassai works. Card is phenomenal. So because of the more low profile, because of this card, again, because Kassai, she only needs 2 to swing, I also decided this time to run Springboard Somersault with the yellow. This card did serious work for me. It actually exceeded my expectations. So I was on Sync, Fate, and Springboard Somersault, almost playing. It's certainly not a fatigue build, but it's definitely more of a value build. Okay. Freewheeling Renegades, you all know I love that card as a popper and a chain ender. Iron Song Red-Blue and the Swing Red-Blue. Out for Blood because you're going to pay for it. Agile Engagement, right? Give yourself that agility token on the backside. Hit and Run, Full Boat. Blade Runner, Full Boat. Rounds out the deck. I do have Raging Onslaught ×1 only. That's right, I had to cut. And then the Oasis Respites, and that rounds out effectively the sideboard. Okay, so that was my deck. I had a ton of fun with this. I went down, I think it was in the 2nd or 3rd round, to Aaron Roker's Icelander deck. It's a very hard matchup. It was very, very, very close, but he played it extremely well, extremely tight. Not much I could do. So I went 3-1 on the day, finished 5th. I was super happy with it. So either way, that's the rundown of the event. Again, just to recap, we had, the top 4. We had a Katsu, an OG Dash, 2 Icelanders, and then myself in 5th on Kassai. But in a field with no Iris, right? Field with no Iris, and someone might take that as negative feedback. That is nothing but positive feedback, right? If the community itself has said, you know what, this hero might be too good, and then collectively bands together to not do it without even talking about it, I think that's pretty strong. Speaks a lot to the strength of your community, and I freaking love you guys. So anyway, that'll do it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If not, probably let me know in the comments below. Nothing else, folks. Go Commando.